Hey everyone, Anna Krueger here with Sparking Progress, and today we're going to talk about two of the top mistakes you can make with your ISA that will likely cause them to leave your team or at least think about leaving your team. All right, well, the first mistake a lot of people make with inside sales agents that will cause them to probably leave your team is not communicating feedback on what happens to the appointment. If you think about it, a talented ISA really thinks and acts a lot like a rainmaker. They're very results oriented. They're very driven to make sure that success happens and that appointments come in and that they turn into closings. Well, imagine being on the front end of that process, and imagine that you yourself are setting appointments for other people, and you really have to hand over even part of your own success to other people. And if those people do not communicate back to you and say, hey, they showed up or they did not show up, they signed, they did not sign, things like that, it can very quickly drain a highly results-oriented person. And that's what we want in an ISA, is someone who's results-oriented. So the number one thing that you can do to help an ISA want to leave your team is not communicate the feedback of what happens to your appointments. The second thing I want to share is actually the number one reason I hear from inside sales agents of why they want to leave a team. And that is that they are considered entry level, which really doesn't make sense. If you think about it, in the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller talks about the extreme importance of lead conversion. In fact, he says it's one of the last things that we delegate to someone else because it's just that important. It is the lifeblood of your business. Yet we often hear people talking about the inside sales role as if it's lesser than or not as qualified as a buyer or a listing agent role. One, that's just not good culture. But two, again, if we want a results-oriented person who's highly driven, they're not going to want to stay in a position that's talked about as if it's entry level. So one thing you can do to help this is talk about the inside sales agent role as being equal to the buyer agent and the listing agent role. They all have value, they just have different functions within the team. So to keep that talented ISA, make sure you're providing feedback on what happens in their appointments. And then secondly, treat them with value, which should happen anyway. But make sure we're not talking about that position as if it's lesser than, because it's actually the lifeblood of the business. We have to make sure it's treated as such. All right, well, coming up in June, we're gonna have a class about how to hire, train, and retain ISAs. So keep your eye on these emails and I'll let you know more about it when it gets closer. Have a great one.